Welcome back, investors and stock market traders. My name is Jeff. NIO stock is set to report earnings this week. Okay, it's going to be nice and early. I'm over here on the NIO website right now. I feel much different. I feel a lot different sentiment than I did before they reported last quarter's earnings. Let me briefly preface this entire video by saying this. I'm not making a bullish call. I'm not making a bearish call on this company before they report earnings. Here's why. Nobody on earth knows what kind of numbers. There might be a couple of high-level executives in the company that know what early numbers are going to look like, but don't let any analyst or any stock market pro tell you they know what exactly is going to happen on an earnings report, because that is false and that is a lie. Now, the last video I made about NIO before their Q2 earnings report, I actually did make a pretty bearish call. I said I'm not confident. I am not feeling any kind of confidence going into that earnings call, and I would probably not want to be holding the stock, or perhaps be sold out, take any profits you can, and not be buying call options before that earnings report. I felt very confident. All the data, everything I was reading, and especially delivery numbers, were pointing me in that direction. This one, I am neither confident to the bearish side or the bullish side. If anything, I'm leaning in the bullish side. We're going to talk about that in this video. So let's go right down here. NIO is set to report third quarter 2019 financial results on Monday, December 30th, 2019. So I'm recording this video on a Saturday. So Monday of this upcoming week, NIO is going to be reporting earnings. And this might also be the first time I can remember them reporting before the markets open. So first thing Monday morning, I would have your app going, or if you're behind your computer, whatever you're doing, and just kind of watching the movement of the stock. And we will wait for earnings to drop. As long as I have time permissible and I'm not busy wrapped up into other things, I will try to make a follow-up video covering their earnings from Q3. I'm a lot more excited about this report, and I know what a lot of people are going to say. It's because Tesla did really good on their last earnings report. Not exactly. That's not exactly what I'm saying. That is something I'm definitely taking into account. That electric vehicles, the sector as a whole is starting to move in an upward direction. But keep in mind, NIO and Tesla, two very different companies. Tesla has been outperforming. This stock has ran from $170 up to $430. And NIO has made a recovery from $1.20 back up to $2.50. We did see a pretty strong sell-off at the end of last week, and I think the reason of that was the last opportunity you had to get out of this stock before they reported earnings again. So probably a lot of options being sold there. So let's go over what to expect from Q3 earnings, kind of what to look for, what early analysts are saying. We're going to kind of just get the picture, get everything zoomed in nice. And then hopefully on Monday, I can make a follow-up video after NIO's reported earnings. We can analyze the earnings report, take a look at everything, and see how they perform. So before we get started, guys, do me a favor. Make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video. I appreciate all the support. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. So from one website to the next, you are going to see conflicting information, especially you're going to see some of these charts. And what I have is the EPS earnings numbers pulled up for NIO going back to Q3 of 2018. This chart would represent the earnings through Q2 of 2019. And if you were to look at this and only look at this, and this is the only source of information that you're going to use, you would think, okay, NIO is moving in a very positive direction. Why? Is they're trying to close their losses, okay? In Q3 2018, they reported EPS of minus $1.51, but then they closed that gap in Q4 2018. And then they closed it even once again in Q1 2019. But it was in Q2 of this past year when they reported they were back down. So they widened their loss even more. Now, if you want to go off projected earnings, this is for Q3 2019 and far beyond. And all of these are actually projecting that NIO is slowly but surely going to close up their loss, okay? They're going to get closer and closer towards profitability. What is going on with this EPS chart? Not necessarily what is going on the stock chart. Let's go over to Yahoo Finance, and I'm going to show you just a couple clicks on a different website would kind of tell you a totally different story. All right, so I have pretty much the same exact thing pulled up on Yahoo Finance. This is consensus EPS history. Now, why I don't like projected earnings, guys, this is why I actually prefer using a tool like Yahoo Finance over NASDAQ.com, simply because projected earnings are a bunch of nonsense, okay? You can't project earnings until you have the current earnings report for Q3 2019. When that report hits, then you can start to slightly project for the next quarter, maybe two. So if you do like to play earnings, especially picking up stocks off earnings rebounds when stocks get hit really hard on earnings, you have to invest into history, okay? You cannot invest into necessarily what you think is going to happen. So a situation like this is going to give you a little bit more realistic picture, okay? The same exact information, in quarter three, they had the big miss, then they had the slight beat, but as you can see, EPS is just not moving in any real kind of direction, okay? And that is primarily responsible for the sell-off in the stock. So if we do see a big jump in EPS, we see a movement out of the negative numbers and towards the positive, I think that can be the biggest catalyst really to pushing NIO to higher levels in the stock price. Simply because institutions are going to sell off. You're going to see a lot of algorithmic selling. If they're expected to come in at a negative 45 cents or 42 cents and they end up coming in at a negative 50 or 55, the loss grows even deeper, which means the fundamentals are getting even worse. Really doesn't matter what their revenue number is. They have to show that they can run their company much more efficiently. So I would not guarantee anything at this point. It's too uncertain. There's some companies out there that never miss on EPS. I can think of a handful of them. I can almost look on a calendar and tell you when they're reporting earnings, and 3 out of 4 times, maybe 5 out of 6 times, they're going to beat on EPS. Why? They're very, very efficiently run. So NIO still has that problem in front of them. They have not conquered that demon yet. And I'm not looking for them to fix that problem here in quarter three. I'm just looking for them to take a couple steps in the right direction. That's all we really need to see to get the stock to move. Let's start quarterly. Obviously, the earnings were horribly negative here in Q3. I have this number pulled up, minus $9.76 billion, but they were positive $1.47 billion on revenue. What does that add up to and equal to? A very, very, very bad quarter, right? Q4 2018, little bit better, a little bit more efficient, negative $3.52 billion as opposed to $3.44 billion on the revenue side. So a lot more efficient numbers there. Quarter one 2019, again, it kind of took a step back, okay? So the earnings were negative $2.65 billion up against $1.63 billion of revenue. And then quarter two, guys, this was again another big step back, okay? And see, one of the big advantages NIO has going into this quarter is that their delivery estimates and their delivery numbers have grown for 4 months consecutively. So you could kind of anticipate that their revenue is going to beat, okay? Now again, like I said, if they don't beat on earnings, I would put, 60 or 65% of my trust in the fact that they will beat on revenue, but that's not necessarily the metric I'm most concerned about. I gotta see that they're doing it on EPS as well. All right, so let's briefly cover some of the strengths or good points going into quarter three, okay? So there's an increasing demand for NIO's ES6 model. This is likely to be reflected in the firm's third quarter 2019 results. Okay, during the to be reported quarter, NIO delivered 4,799 vehicles, making a 46.8% year-over-year increase. Now right there, guys, a 50% increase in sales figures. Obviously, revenue numbers should be boosted. All right, so I'm not one of these types of people that thinks two big, large companies cannot succeed side by side, okay? If I'm going to apply that logic, I'm going to say, you know what? Walmart and Amazon and Target and Costco cannot all succeed side by side because they're competing industries. And I'm going to apply some of that same logic to this particular industry. Electric vehicles is very, very competitive, but I do have to take a look at this. These numbers are a little bit on the frightening side for NIO, okay? In November of this year, NIO delivered 2,528 units. That was flat on the month-over-month basis. However, those figures weren't great news for a company eyeing the Tesla-like growth. Tesla's deliveries in China rose by 13 times in November. Tesla delivered 5,597 electric vehicles during the month. Now, last November, in November 2018, Tesla delivered 393. So that's very startling right there. Tesla is making some deep penetration into China. Of course, China is a very huge country. I believe NIO and Tesla can both grow and thrive in China, but Tesla has got the upper hand, out delivering NIO by more than 2 to 1. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. All right, and lastly, guys, let's briefly talk about this. Q3 was marred by internal issues in trade war. There's a question mark at the end of that because we don't quite know yet, okay? So we're presenting this like it is a question. Here's some of the facts. I really hate to remind everybody about this, but at the beginning of the third quarter, NIO recalled 4,800 ES8 batteries due to a potential safety issue. And that NIO's chairman at that time said during the month, we prioritized battery manufacturing capacity for this effort, which significantly affected our production and delivery results. So that is something that could also definitely cut into this quarter's earnings. And again, that's why I say this is so difficult to make a call on. Trying to combine recalls with delivery numbers, with a burning cash flow. You could go to the extreme of saying NIO might not have any cash to burn after this quarter. Of course, the same exact things were said about Tesla before their massively great quarter. So again, not a bearish call and not a bullish call. Very uncertain, but I also see a lot of upside potential here. So really looking forward to the results of Q3's earnings report. Please drop a comment and leave your thoughts with me. I would like to talk with any long-term NIO shareholders. Thank you for watching the video, guys, and have an awesome day.